Hello everyone, this is Nina Tarol and you are watching Mindful Manila, your online community for mindful living in the metro. In this episode, we play back our Mindful Monday Live Chat on anxiety and mindfulness in the time of COVID-19, featuring Dr. Robert Buenaventura, a psychiatrist at the UERM Hospital, and Ms. Cathy Babao, a mental health advocate and grief coach. How do you deal with anxiety during this period? What are some healthy and mindful practices to do during the lockdown? How do we deal with grief? And what else do we need to remind each other as a community? Stay tuned for these and so many more important insights coming up. And tonight we are talking about anxiety and mindfulness in the time of COVID-19. Because the pandemic is upon us, we are on enhanced community quarantine, otherwise known as a lockdown. There have been many changes over the past week, and we can only imagine the level of anxiety that people must be feeling, and confusion amid everything that's happening. And we are so grateful that we have two guests tonight who can shed light on this topic. So we have with us Dr. Robert Buenaventura, a psychiatrist from UERM Hospital, and you may reach him at DocBongB on Twitter. And we're also very grateful to have with us Ms. Cathy Babao. She's a mental health advocate and a grief coach, and you can find her on Facebook at Cathy Sanchez Babao and on Instagram at Cathy Babao. The first question I wanted to ask now was about anxiety in general. Is it normal even for people who seem to have everything under control? Is this feeling of you're confused, sometimes you panic, people are panic buying. I just went to the supermarket today, there were a lot of empty shelves. What is going on, and is this a normal reaction to what we're going through? Dr. Bong, do you want to start?
It's normal to be anxious or worried at this point in time. And there are several reasons for that. Number one is because we're uncertain about what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen like 3 or even 6 months from now. Is it going to get worse? Is it going to get better? Okay. And then, of course, paramount in terms of our minds is the thought that we or our loved ones may become infected, become sick. So that's a very scary proposition for all of us. So that's the reason why a lot of us have become anxious. There are other reasons, but Siguro at this point I'll just highlight these two.
And as a way of how do you recommend that people manage this anxiety or all of these unknowns going on around us right now? Because there will be people who hindi naman control freak, pero they really function better when they know what's going to happen, and obviously that's not the case, right?
Right. I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the other reasons why we become anxious at this time is because we lose a sense of control. We feel very powerless about the situation. So we were told to do this, we were told to do that. So that creates a certain degree of anxiety within us. Another problem that we are facing, and I'm seeing this increasingly, and even with my colleagues, the mga physicians, there's a lot of overwhelming information that's around, including fake news, conspiracy theories, misinformation, and sensationalism from the press as well. So how do we deal with all of these things? The first thing I would suggest is something really very basic. Is we need to take care of ourselves. So practice self-care. We eat right, we hydrate, we sleep well, we exercise, practice proper hygiene, and if we're taking any maintenance medications, let's say for diabetes or hypertension, we have to make sure that we take those as well. And then we need to focus on timely and accurate information from reliable and credible sources only. I mean, we don't need to check mass media or social media every second of the day.
Okay,
We
that's
can just
important.
do that like several. Right.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of conflicting information. So my
Mm-mm.
suggestion particularly is to focus only on credible sites, let's say the website of the DOH or the
Mm-mm.
World Health Organization. Because my experience lately is that even yung mga major news organizations, no, they tend to sensationalize issues so that oftentimes their reports become full of misinformation and it creates confusion to a lot of people. For example, yung pagtake ng hydroxychloroquine, which is a drug for malaria. So biglang pumutok yun na
Mm-mm.
it can prevent infection.
Mm.
So mga bagay na ganon that the press picks up and then they just relate and then without really a very good qualifying statement about mga reminders or disclaimers about things like that. And
Mm-mm.
then for us as well, yung financial concern, di ba? Because a lot of us
Correct.
no work, no pay.
Correct.
So, di ba with the quarantine, I mean 1 month pa lang nga ngayon quarantine, what if it gets extended to 3 months or even 6 months? No?
Correct.
So, ano mangyayari? So, stuff like that. So, we need to educate ourselves as well. No? That means we need to sift through the information that we're getting and then follow recommendations. For example, like, you stay at home, quarantine,
Mm-mm.
hand washing techniques. Kaya isang suggestion ko with people is find someone that you can talk to, who you can rely to, whom you can rely on for credible information. It could be your pastor, it could be your personal physician, it could be an older relative. No? Kasi
Mm-mm.
we also need to be able to talk to someone, be able to vent out our fears and frustrations so that at the end of the day, will be in a better position to function.
That's true, no? And I wanted to use that point to segue to my next question, and both of you can jump in. So, social media, how often should we check it? Of course, people want to be updated about the latest news, but what's a healthy practice for checking social media or even for interacting with friends? Because you're cooped up inside there, so while the lockdown is ongoing, you want to still feel connected outside, but what's a healthy balance? What would
Yeah.
you suggest?
Yeah, it's so easy to get swept away in the intensity of the
Mm-mm.
feelings that people tend to feel nowadays, right? Especially the anger. If you notice, diba, Dr. Bong, there's like so much anger now.
Mm-mm.
Anger at the
Mm-mm.
government. I think
Right.
anger at the uncertainty of all
Mhm.
these things. So you really need to like curb or uh, really budget your time on social media, and I think it takes need to have a certain level of self-awareness, like pag naramdaman mo na parang umiinit na yata yung ulo ko, di ba? So
Right.
don't get to that point, because
Mhm.
if you get to that point, then your tendency will be to post really nasty things. I mean,
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
guilty.
Mm-mm.
I've done
Mm-mm.
that like a couple of times the last few days. So, kasi when you let your anger take over, you're not anymore thinking straight, right? Or thinking you just,
Rationally,
yeah,
yes.
rationally. Yes, yes. So, really minimize, there's so many things that you can do online other than social media. That's
Mhm.
my take. Yeah,
What
budget it
would you
talaga.
suggest? What other things do you suggest would be productive use? Of course, for those who are working from home, I mean, there is work
Yeah,
to be done.
right.
And actually, we notice nga na we seem to be working longer hours. Diba?
Yes.
I mean, it's hard to
Yeah.
so how do you balance all that?
uh, do other things online, like take an online course. There's a lot of
Right.
online
Right.
courses that you can take. Like I'm taking one on Coursera, and then I'm also
Mm.
taking a Bible study. Now we have all this time to do the things that we kept putting off when we
Mhm.
didn't have the time, right?
Right.
So
That's true.
Right.
and this time is never gonna come back. Well, we hope, right? And
Mm.
we hope that it won't last forever. But yeah,
Yeah.
take advantage of this period and do all
Mm-mm.
those things that you've been wanting to do.
That's
Mhm.
true, no?
Spend time with your family. I mean, it's really a precious time.
Mm-mm.
Right.
It's a difficult time, but it's a precious time, and we make, di ba, someday, a few months later, when we look back on this time, we should be able to look back with, okay, it was difficult, but, there was a lot of good that came out of it. So, nasa sa'yo yun eh, di ba? It's
That's
really up to
true.
you.
But
Yeah.
how do you deal with cabin fever though? I mean, we don't know how long this is going to last, and some people will be sharing a space, confined space with other
Right.
members of the family. Di ba? Maraming mga family dynamics yan. Di ka naman pwede mag-walk out
Yeah.
kasi wala kang pupuntahan. I mean, you can't
Right,
Right.
even do
right,
your
right.
retail therapy.
Yeah.
Or how do you
Yeah.
suggest families and even groups living together will deal with this
Yeah.
situation?
Yeah. Doc Bong, maybe you wanna answer that question on cabin fever.
Yeah.
Myself.
Before I go there, I'd just like to pick up on something that Kathy mentioned,
Mm-mm.
about yung anger. That's a symptom din kasi ng anxiety natin. I call it scapegoating or blaming. No? And
Okay.
that's the reason for that nga, because there's a lot of uncertainty. So whenever we and because of our frustrations, and therefore there's a need to blame someone. Kaya nga yung suggestion ko, find someone to vent all these fears and frustrations so that you don't end up putting the blame on others. Kaya yung point nga ni Cathy, di ba? Yung maganda yun. Now about the cabin fever, actually, especially with the kids, I'm with two kids right now, and
Yeah.
nagyayaya nga sila kasi alam nila walang pasok. When can we go to Kizuna? Yung mga ganon. So I think like all the adults in the house, in the household should sit down and talk about planning, because you want to be able to be able to come up with an equitable solution. Sabi mo, feeling, tas maganda rin kasi yung suggestion ni Kathy. The thing is, we need to occupy ourselves. Tapos nakita ko, di ba, mga free books by Paulo Coelho, tapos yung mga museums, so I've put
Yeah.
their, di ba,
Virtual tours.
art online. So there's,
Yeah.
saka yung free courses. Ang dami talagang pwedeng gawin. Kaya I feel somewhat disappointed when people say, I don't know what to do, or they say they get bored. Because if you sit down and think about it, maraming pwedeng gawin.
Yeah.
You can be creative. Di ba, there was this guy who took pictures of himself all around the house kasi di ba yun ang sabi. Maghanap ka ng mapapasyalan mo sa bahay. So that's what he did, no? It turned out to be very funny. So then isang din yun, isang way to deal with this, find the funny, yung sense of humor natin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can focus on that rather than on the negative, di ba? Kasi mas nakaka-invigorate yun.
Yeah, Filipino humor is our humor is our saving grace, is always our, 'di ba? Redemption in a way. We always manage to find something funny even in the worst of situations. So I think that's a very good value or characteristic of Filipino.
I agree,
Yeah.
Tapos yung bayanihan spirit din, kasi nga 'di ba, we feel powerless, we feel like we don't have any control. So
Yeah.
let's do something in a situation that we feel useful. So you
Right.
can share, you can donate, 'di ba?
True.
Yeah.
No
Kahit
matter
hindi
how
ka nga
small.
lumabas. True, no matter how small.
Yes.
Whatever, kasi 'di ba, ang dami nangangailangan ng tulong. Or kung wala tayong maibigay na pera or look for people who are isolated, 'di ba? Because they may want to have someone to connect with also. It's not just kasi kung maswerte tayo, we have family members to connect with. We have to think that the other people who have no one to connect with.
Actually,
Right.
I was doing that.
Isolated.
How about for those living alone at home?
Oo, yun na nga eh. An example that I have is there's this young doctor na graduate ng UERM college. He's a doctor to the barrio volunteer, no? And he's way far away from his family, and he's all alone there, the only physician in the town that doesn't have personal protective equipment, doesn't have testing kits.
Wow.
So he feels very frustrated. He feels very isolated.
Yeah.
So that's why I reach out to him, because he just needs someone to be able to, someone to talk to be able to vent his frustration.
Yeah.
So yung mga ganun, let's just be considerate of others as well.
Yeah, I think you take a look at your friend list, take a look at your phone list, and diba, see if yung yung alam mong nag-iisa lang sila or wala silang family, reach out to them at this time, especially at this time. So all it takes is looking at your friend list. or your phone list, di ba? Tapos,
Oo.
mangamusta ka, kamustahin mo. Boy, people really appreciate that, especially at this time, Isolation is difficult, especially if, especially if you're alone. Tapos lalo pa if you're sick, di ba?
Yes.
So,
Oo, tama.
worse.
Oo.
Yeah, yeah. Which brings me to the question, Doc Wong, because I encountered it.
Mm,
What if, like, let's say, for example, I have depression or I have anxiety, and
mm.
I ran out of my prescription medicines,
Right. Oo.
and like I need to get my prescription filled. Paano yun? But all the psychiatrists are out, and some of them require special prescriptions, diba? Like
Yes.
S2.
Oo.
So,
Right.
paano yun? Yeah.
Okay.
How is that?
I'm glad you asked that question. Ano. We're very happy because the group of doctors we wrote to the Dangerous Drugs Board, the Food and Drugs Administration, the Drug Enforcement Agency, and fortunately, all these government agencies were very cooperative. Ano. Took they recognize the challenges that patients may have. So they agreed that for this duration of period, no, during the quarantine, that they will allow photos or
Oh,
Oh, okay.
PDFs of
Of
prescriptions,
okay.
no.
okay.
Pero may mga certain may mga certain requirements, and the psychiatrists and the doctors will know that. For example, yung full name ng patient, yung complete address, yung mga typical requirements of a prescription dapat kompleto, no? So that even Mercury Drugstore has agreed to this, kasi they just need to be able to verify the information. They might call up the doctor. You say, Doc, tama ba to? Nag-prescribe pa kayo ng ganitong gamot for this patient? So stuff like that. So at least we're very happy that the government is working with us in this situation.
That's really good to know because, diba, I can imagine if you have anxiety, your anxiety will probably be heightened, during
Yes,
this period. Yeah.
that's true. Oo.
Yeah.
And that's the
So,
reason why kung bakit nga kami sumulat, because a lot of our patients were saying, ano na mangyayari sa amin?
yes.
And syempre yung mga butika din, unless kasi di ba the drugstores, unless there's a directive from the government, they really cannot do anything. No?
Right,
Kasi
right.
caught in a bind din sila. Kaya we're very happy that the three government agencies I mentioned, PIDEA, DDB, and FDA, have sought to provide clear guidelines about this.
That's good. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
that's one of the, at least it's something practical and tangible that
Yes,
people can
oo.
really help.
Yeah.
Oh.
Totoo.
I also wanted to, later on, I'll share some more information about other volunteer opportunities that people can get into. Kasi yun nga, di ba, you feel helpless at this time, and
Right.
volunteering or donating might be one way to help out.
Yes.
But since we're also running out of time, I wanted to ask one other question to Miss Cathy, and
Yeah.
this is really concerning, and this is with your grief counseling background, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Kumbaga, looking to that perspective, for those who have family members who are already ill, who might have been diagnosed with the virus or who are going through it themselves, it must be a doubly difficult time, because for those who have lost a loved one, I heard that when that happens, the deceased is cremated right away.
Right away.
You
Yeah.
can't even gather to mourn
Yeah.
as you normally would. And
Right.
I can imagine the feeling of, again, helplessness,
Yes.
possibly depression will be heightened kasi
Right.
wala, you weren't even able to say goodbye properly, diba? Or give them a proper send-off. So
Right.
in the case of something like that, or if you know of somebody like that and you want to help them mourn or grieve,
Yeah.
how do we help?
Yeah, well, it's never a good time to die, right? I mean, when you die, it's never a good time. But especially during this period, this is really I would say, a challenging and a difficult time to die because of the circumstances. It's like we're at war. It's like World War II. You cannot mourn properly. You don't can even start, right? Because the body you can't say goodbye because you're not allowed to be at the hospital, you're not to be allowed at the bedside because nga infection and all that. So that's a complicating factor already, diba? The fact na hindi ka makapagpaalam, you can't be there. Second is you can't have a proper wake, you can't invite people. So wakes, kasi usually that's where you kick off the morning period. Pero paano yan, di ba? People can't come to you. So it's really tricky. It's very difficult for families during this period. So what can you do? Well, first of all, I hope, there was this story that came out a few days ago about, a family who found out about their father or grandfather's death through the
Social
DOH
media.
bulletin.
Yes,
So
this
that was
was
like,
published on
uh,
Esquire, I think.
yeah, that was
Mm.
like really terrible. So I hope hospitals, have changed, or they already have a protocol for that, because you
Mm.
can't do that. I mean, you cannot not involve the family and let them know what is going on. So I really hope that has not happened again, or will not happen again, because that is like one of the most painful things you can do to a family, just to tell them that,
Mm-mm.
sorry, namatay na, and or worse, to find out in public or in media that, they were guessing, is this, our lolo, is this our dad?
Yeah, yeah.
Don't do that. So I really hope that, there's a new protocol now. Second, I guess, if you know of someone, who lost a family member, whether to COVID, or to another disease during this time, now
Mm-mm.
is really the time to reach out and to support. That's one of the things that you can do. If you're close to the person, whether you're not close to that person, really make an effort. No, there's online, you can like send messages, you can be there for them in many different ways. No, I think meron pa namang, I think is there Grab delivery? You can send
Yes,
food,
there
or
is.
you can, yeah,
Mm-mm.
you can send whatever can help them during this period. And eventually later on you can help them plan, right? Because it would be good for all the families who have lost their loved ones during this period, to have some sort of ceremony or ritual later on, like a gathering of friends, a gathering of
Mm-mm.
families. Pag
That's
ganun na, when everything's okay na, di ba? I think it's very important to have that ritual.
Right. Oh. That will serve as a closure din kasi, di ba?
Yes, yes, yeah. Kick
oo.
off for their moving, yeah, for their morning and for their moving forward.
I mean,
Yeah.
however long it takes. I mean, it we don't know how long the lockdown or the enhanced community quarantine will be, but it's important to have that time and space
Right,
to
right.
to mourn properly. If you
Yes.
don't mind, I will jump off there. There's an interesting question here, and I want to say hello to Carlo. O sige, Carlo, my friend Carlo Valencia. I will switch on my camera for you and my other friends. And Camila's right. I'm conserving bandwidth.
Mm.
But all right, hello. Okay, so a good question here. So, di ba there are the five stages of grief, ba? Are we all going through some level of
Yeah.
that? I mean, whether or not we are ill or
Oh,
we lost
okay.
somebody, are we
Yeah.
going through that as a community or as a collective?
You're referring to the Kubler-Ross model, denial, anger, bargaining,
Yes.
depression, and acceptance, right?
Mm-mm. Correct.
Yeah, I suppose that's what Carlos referred to. Well, that model is not bad in itself, but Kubler-Ross really designed it more for people who are at the end of life, because
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I always say grief is not linear. It's not like step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We like steps, because it sort of gives us a parang guide, di ba?
Yeah, it
Okay,
feels neat.
I'm here next, yeah, neat, right? Okay, next
Yeah.
month I should be here 2 months from now. But anyone who has been through a loss, knows that it doesn't work that way, right? You're like two
Mm-hmm.
steps forward, one step backward. That's how it is. So okay siya. That model really, she said, actually she designed it more for people at the end of life. That's a
Mm-hmm.
better model to use. So as a community, it's also kind of hard to apply that, as because our emotions fluctuate. you know we can be like very angry today and very accepting 2 days later, and then the following week angry again. uh, so I wouldn't apply that model
Mm-hmm.
to
Okay.
to where we are as a community. Just stay with your feelings. I think it's what important is listen to your feelings and don't be afraid to name them. If you're feeling angry, then admit it. I'm angry. Then you ask yourself, what am I angry
Why?
about?
Right.
Right? What is driving my anger? You
Mm-hmm.
know, what happened today? Did I hear something? Did I read something? So that's also an exercise in becoming self-aware.
Yeah, and there might be other causes
Right.
or other related causes of that anger. Na it's not the virus
Yes.
itself, but there's something deeper
Yes.
you have to dig into. Just one other question before we wrap up. This is from Aaron Tadeo. How do we deal po with the anxiety now? We think we have the virus, di ba? Medyo psychosomatic na siya, to the point
Mm.
that symptoms are starting to show, whether it's you or somebody you know. I mean, can that happen? The fear of
Right.
getting
Dr.
sick
Bong.
actually manifesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. Bong.
Can I answer that, Nina?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes,
please.
that's another form of anxiety. We tend to somatize na, so it's not just that we have emotional or psychological symptoms. We may develop somatic symptoms as well. But I'm glad that the DOH has a hotline for this. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
the number with me right now, but you can Google it easily. The Department of Health has provided a hotline number that the public can call if they feel. So they can call that, and then someone will respond to
Mm-hmm.
their concerns. No? So that would be my suggestion. Kasi you may have, but there's a likelihood then that you don't. No? And then the person who will respond to you may also give you suggestions about what to do. Kasi may protocol na sinusundan ng Department of Health. But for
Mm-hmm.
everyone else, for example, if you're feeling very frustrated, you're feeling very anxious, you just need someone to talk to, and you don't know if anyone to call on. Remember yung mga hotlines before that came out to deal with people who are depressed or suicidal. Yung the ones that were released by InTouch Foundation, by Jean Goldborn Foundation, and also by the National
Mm-hmm.
Center
Yes.
for Mental Health. You can call those hotlines. Kasi for example, yung sa National Center for Mental Health, I confirmed with their top officials that they are accepting calls for those who are developing anxiety as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. No? I don't have the numbers right now. You can easily Google them.
Yeah. What we'll also do is we'll look for those
Um,
numbers and we'll post information
but
on
just
Mindful
be
Manila.
patient. They
Right. Right.
Okay,
Okay.
good. Yes. And then I can also send you, Nina, yung mga practical tips ko about 15, and then you
Yes.
can also post it in the Mindful
Yeah.
Manila.
Writing tips on
But
anxiety.
just to remind everyone, yung mga hotlines kasi, remember they're also overworked now, ang daming tumatawag sa kanila. So just be very patient. Your call may not be answered right away. It may take a while. Just remember
Mm-mm.
there's a lot of people who are calling and who also need help. So just be patient. Magtiyaga lang, wag naman magtampo o magalit agad kung hindi masagot ka agad yung tawag.
Oo.
Yeah.
If it's okay, can I ask one last question? This is also
Sure.
a good
Sure.
yeah.
Yes.
So this is from Joey Alarilla. Hi, Joey. So his question is it normal to feel a bit disoriented, like you don't know which day it is, or you sometimes feel detached or disengaged?
Yeah. Yes.
Diba?
Yes.
Kasi nga,
Yes,
you're out of your
yes.
Yeah.
normal routine eh. So,
Yes.
um,
Right.
Yes.
what's a healthy practice to do to kind of get back in the groove? Or conversely, do you allow yourself that time na, okay, today I'm not gonna do anything, I'm gonna veg out, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But at what point do you say,
Yeah.
wait, tama na to, we need to switch back to something normal?
Yeah. How do you explain that, Dr. Bong? That
Eh,
phenomenon of losing concept of time and
Right.
space in a way. Yeah.
Kasi kasama din yun sa practical tips ko because we tend
Oh,
to disrupt our rhythm, no, yung routine natin. Kaya isang suggestion dyan is to maintain your routine. No?
right.
In fact, people forgot na
Structure.
nagtatalo nga kami. For example, is it Palm Sunday yesterday or not? Yung
Yeah.
ganun. Kasi to the
Yeah.
point na people,
Right.
malapit na ba Holy Week?
Oh,
Because yun na nga eh,
that's
no,
true.
you don't know. Kasi you're just cooped up at home.
Right.
So
Oo.
suggestion then is to maintain a routine, develop schedules, stuff like that. But like what you mentioned, Nina, but still be spontaneous. No, if you just want to be still and chill. I mean, that's fine. You don't have to be doing anything or everything at any given point in time. But the thing is, having a routine or schedule can help
Yes.
maintain that degree of organization.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
I'll
you
just
have
share.
some,
Yes, go
yeah, you
ahead.
have some semblance. I think it would be good to have some semblance of structure. I
Right.
mean,
Mm-mm.
moving forward. Like, let's say, alam mong every Wednesday I'm gonna do this, yung ganyan, or like every Tuesday afternoon, this is something that I'm going to do for the next, 3 Tuesdays. Yeah, because we're living in stressful times, very
Yes.
stressful times, extraordinarily stressful times, diba? So let's be a little easier on ourselves,
Mm-mm.
kumbaga, cut yourself some slack, diba? You can't, these are not normal times. So you're allowed to like cut yourself some slack and be kinder to yourself. We're gonna get over this, diba? You have to put that in your head that we're gonna
That's
get over
true.
this together. Yeah, but in the meantime, while we're in it, just take one day at a time. I think for me that's the best approach. Just
Right.
take it one day at
Yeah,
a time, right?
Yeah,
I agree.
that's true. No, I was going to share an experience at work because we find ourselves working longer hours kasi nga we feel like okay, the minute you get up or whatever, you can go to your computer right away. Even lunch breaks seem to be shortened kasi feeling mo, I can open my laptop already or I can work later kasi I don't have to go
Mm,
home and go through traffic.
right,
Um,
right,
so the encouragement is also you really have to keep within a decent schedule pa rin, di ba?
mm-hmm.
Stick to a normal work schedule and then find something different to do during the weekend. Kasi ngayon,
Yeah,
nagbo-blur na yung weekday and the
yeah,
weekend.
right,
So
yeah,
I just wanted to ask, sorry, okay, nako, ang daming questions. Pero ito, last na lang. This is from my other friend, Dave De Villas. Hi, Dave. So hello. Asking for my corporate friends or particularly from HR practitioners. How might we provide psychological or emotional support for employees who are made more vulnerable by the crisis? Right now, kasi the engagement activities aren't physical anymore. So companies are shifting to remote or digital engagement
right,
activities. So just any
right.
last tips for workplaces and work teams.
Well, maybe check in on those who are like very vulnerable. You can hold like Zoom one-on-one sessions with them,
Mm-mm.
especially if
Then,
they like request, or even if they don't request. If you know that this person is vulnerable, it would be a good, if they're HR, it would be good if they have the manpower to do it,
mm-mm.
to check on those vulnerable individuals.
Mm.
Even
Mm-mm.
just a few minutes, this big thing. Yeah,
Right.
malaking
Yeah,
I,
bagay na yan.
I
Yeah.
agree.
that's true.
I've actually had several requests now from companies to do like something like this, no, sort of like
Right.
a webinar for the
Yeah.
employees so that they can self-identify as well and help them understand. But there are
Mm-mm.
already available platforms that if they need, for example, one-on-one consultations, then there'll be available platforms for that. But this will particularly be helpful for companies, for example, who have company physicians who are
Mm-mm.
well versed in occupational medicine, who understand the value of this, or HR personnel who also understand the value of this. So I'm glad that there are a lot of companies who are who becoming very cognizant of the importance of this. The thing is, as emphasized by the WHO, kasi whenever there's going to be an epidemic or a crisis like this, mental health or psychosocial processing should be there at the very start. It should be part of the initial planning. It should not be
Yeah.
something that comes in the middle
Mm.
when people are developing psychosocial reactions. No, it should be at the start because at the very start we should have stuff in place already. For example, even for frontliners now,
Ay,
ang dami
oo.
na lang. Oo, nagpa-volunteer na kami because yun
Yeah.
nga, pati
Yeah.
frontliners, they're so distressed now. So there are specific interventions that being prepared for people like them, and also for family members, no, for patients, PUIs, PUMs, actual cases, no. So may mga different attacks yan, different strategies, but all these strategies should be in place at the very start.
Mm-mm. And I guess it's also a wake up call for many of us who have taken this for granted because it's never happened before. So
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
now we're
so
scrambling to
Yeah.
put these things into
true,
place.
Right.
true.
But
Right. Right.
what I'm seeing I mean, it's hard to say, oh, the positive thing that came out of this, kasi nga, there's so much negative that is going around. But I do want to at least acknowledge that the positive thing coming out of this is that I think we actively are looking out for each other.
Mhm.
Workplaces
right.
are becoming more conscious na of the need for continued connection,
Yes,
beyond the physical,
yes,
and then we are looking out for the frontliners. People are now actively asking, what can I do to help? How can I support? No matter
Right.
yeah,
how small. When you go to the supermarket, you're now more conscious that, some of these, the service staff in the supermarket didn't have public transportation. So, kuya, paano po kayo
mhm,
pumunta dito? You now are
Mhm.
more aware that you're all going through this together, and it is an
yeah,
opportunity to really bring out the best of our humanity. I mean, it's
yes,
confusing
true,
times, but we'd like to
Mhm.
hope that
yeah,
we are beyond these immediate feelings of anger and confusion, and we can transcend.
right,
Right.
right, yeah, yeah. I think in addition to like all the precautionary measures, quarantine, isolation, hand washing, and all these things, for
Mm-mm.
me, the best way to beat this virus is really, kumbaga, the best antivirus you can think of at this time is kindness and compassion, diba?
Kindness and
Yes,
compassion.
Kindness and compassion. Yeah, kindness
Mhm.
and compassion.
mm,
We can beat this if we work together as a community, diba?
Right.
Don't just think of yourself, but you can't. You cannot just think of yourself at this time.
True.
You have to think of yourself in community with others.
Oo.
yeah,
Tapos,
and
Nina, just to pick
yes.
up on what you said earlier, you no experience nga. Remember, all of us know our government ourselves. This is the first time we're going through this. No one has any experience about dealing this in our country. So that's why we need to be, like Cathy has mentioned, we need to be kind and compassionate and be more understanding.
Yes.
If we're doing stuff that doesn't work, oh, no, pagbigyan natin, pabayaan natin yun. Kasi nga hindi natin alam kung ano yung, we're not prepared for this, no?
Mm-mm.
Kasi first time natin pinagdadaanan. So, and just to end on a higher note, yung sinasabi mo, yung let's transcend this. Ang sa akin, one of the best things that I've seen, was this family who talked about the death of their family member through COVID. Sabi nila, we want to use this death as a reminder to all about taking care. So, yun ang gusto ko emphasize. Let's find
Yes.
meaning. Let's find meaning.
Mm-mm.
Let's try to make sense of all the situation. We could do it now, but for a lot of us, it might come much
Mm-hmm.
later. When things have settled down. But the thing is, let's go beyond the negativity. Let's be positive. Let's try to maintain a hopeful stance. I'm sure sasabihin ng iba, oh, that's false hope. But the thing is, it's better than being in the dark. Uh,
That's true.
um, I mean, let's do being able to get that's a key word. We need
Mm-mm.
to help each other. We need to support each other.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that
That's
is.
the only way we can make it through. Yeah, that's the only way we can make it through. It's a dark period, so you have to let your light
Oo nga, di ba?
shine.
It's
Diba?
better to light the
You
candle
have
than curse the
to,
darkness.
yeah, you have to keep your light. Diba? You have to keep your light
Yeah.
shining,
Yes, yes.
on other people. Yeah, light the way for them.
Mm-mm.
So it's
That's
hard
a
to do, but you gotta take care of yourself also.
that's a really great thought to end with. And I was apprehensive na when we end up talking about grieving and dealing with this, we might end up on a lower note. But I'm
Yeah.
glad that we brought up kindness and compassion and being the light for other people. And um,
Yes.
I also would like to encourage everybody, when it's, diba, darkest as it is today, then the more we have to let the light shine and
Right.
light a candle
Right.
for other
Uh-huh.
people as well,
Right.
especially the
Right.
frontliners.
True.
Yes.
Again, no one's gone through this before, so nobody has the playbook. Diba? Nobody has guidelines
Yeah.
or a formula. So
No
we're
one.
all winging this as one global community. So we also have to be kinder to people who should have the solutions, but they don't, because nobody has the solutions. Um, And yun, I know we've gone over time, but thank you so much.
Thank you too for having us.
Cathy, Dr. Bong. It's really been a pleasure. Thank you to the friends, family members, complete strangers who watch this. Thank you to the media outlets and the people and companies who promoted this. So this video will continue to be up on Mindful Manila. We apologize if we were not. I don't think we were able to stream properly on YouTube, but this video will be up on YouTube, so you'll be able to see this at the Mindful Manila channel. And then as committed, we will compile some resources on the hotlines that people can call, and even whatever tips we were able and pieces of advice we were able to talk about.
Right.
We'll share that on the Facebook page and on the website as well. Kasi ang dami, I mean, we're only on week 2. Diba? People are back to humor, and this is a jump off point lang for more conversation. So we really encourage families, organizations, teams to also start talking about this in your own circles and see how you can help each other out.
Maybe we can do a part 2 to answer your questions.
Actually, kung pwede tayo mag-part 2, please.
Inubo na kita, Dr. Bong.
Diba? Tingnan natin how, how the situation... Okay, so thank you. That was a really good discussion on anxiety and mindfulness, and might I add, compassion and kindness in the time of COVID-19. We just featured Dr. Robert Buenaventura, a psychiatrist at UERM, and Ms. Cathy Babao, who's a mental health advocate and a grief coach. And sabi nga nila, this is just part 1. Let us look forward to a part 2, and hopefully by then we would be talking about more hopeful topics about how we were able to cope as a community. And if you want to tune into more information, I encourage you to please take a screenshot. So we have a website, mindfulmanila.com. We are also on Facebook and Twitter at Mindful Manila. On Instagram, there's an underscore at the beginning, so it's underscore Mindful Manila. We also have a YouTube channel. Unfortunately, we were not able to stream this time live, but we will put this up on YouTube. And you can also reach out to me on mindfulmanila.com@gmail.com. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to promote next week's live cast. So we did have a series of Women's Month activities planned, but the pandemic took over. But we are resolving to continue to celebrate the many hats that women wear. So the theme for next week will be The Many Hats We Wear, a celebration of womanhood amid the pandemic. And it's going to be a live panel featuring 3 of my favorite friends who are multi-hatters and amazing women. And we will talk about, all sorts of things about balancing all the many hats. Tapos, on top of that, may pandemic pa. So, but hopefully a more inspiring note amid all of this. So we will be featuring Camille Escudero, founder of Lily of the Valley, Reese Fernandez Ruiz, the president of Rags to Riches, and Joy Wong, the chief igniter of People Ignite, aside from all the other hats they wear. So that will be next Monday, March 30, also at 8 p.m. And you will find us again on Facebook at Mindful Manila, and hopefully we will be able to stream on YouTube. And on a last note, I also wanted to use tonight to pay tribute to my late grandmother. It's her death anniversary today, so you're seeing her on her screen. My late maternal grandmother, Carida Del Mar Lopez, my mamang Karing. So I dedicate this live cast to her. She is one of the reasons why I feel even more inspired to do this for the community. And again, this is Mindful Manila. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, and thank you again to Dr. Bong and Miss Cathy. And I hope to have you here or diba, in person. In person, pwede na tayo mag-merienda for real. And if you have any questions, you can see us online, and we will continue to keep everybody engaged. So again, thank you, everybody. Have a good night, and please have a mindful, healthy, and compassionate week ahead. We are signing off. Thank you, everybody.